Welcome to a new episode of the DJwivesLV podcast. Make sure you subscribe on the podcast platform of your choice. Don't miss any updates. Follow DJwivesLV on Instagram. And now, coming at you from Las Vegas, let's begin.
Hi guys, welcome again to another podcast, DJwivesLV, and we are here for our special guest today.
Today we have a very special guest. She's a former radio DJ from the Philippines, a wife, a mother of two. She actually lives out here in Las Vegas. She's famously known as Angelicopter.
Maybe infamously.
Please welcome Angelica.
Hello, welcome.
This is exciting.
Welcome.
I feel a little excited and awkward, but yes, no one has coined me as a former radio DJ in a while, so
Yes.
We're excited to have you here today.
Well, yeah. So, Angelica, some people may not know, we're neighbors.
yes.
And not only are you beautiful,
Thank you.
kind, but you're also humble because I just recently discovered that you were on the radio in the Philippines.
Yes.
You didn't mention it before. Tell us about that. Yeah.
It just kind of happened. I guess a more, common job is a 9 to 5 in the Philippines. And I would drive myself to work and listen to the morning radio show. And it was now my husband, then, just someone that I listened to, DJ Mo Twister on a radio station back in the Philippines called Magic 89.9. And it was a call-in show. They'd have topics, they speak your mind, and, I'm very opinionated and assertive. So if it's like, I wanted to talk about that, for some reason, I would always get through. So it started with that. They had some co-hosts on the show. One of their co-hosts got injured. And then, while I was driving to work, since our co-host stuck in Korea or somewhere from a skiing injury, maybe we can have that caller, Angelica, join us for a week or so. Like, if she's up for it, if you're up for it, come here tomorrow morning. I'm like,
Wow.
Okay, it was 6 to 9. My work doesn't start till 9:30 or 10. So I was like, okay, I'll do it.
No experience. You were just a common caller. They heard your voice. You were very engaged with the radio station.
A show favorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Amazing.
Well, that's kind of also, I think, that's where also the name Angelicopter came. So the name Angelicopter came before I was a radio show host.
From how?
One of the topics. So I think the topic was something like, why do men have to do special things for women, like open the car door or pay the bill or stuff like that, right? And I was like, okay, well, you don't have to, is what I said when I had called in. And I said, but if you do, Mr. Husband or boyfriend or whatever, maybe later that night you'll get a helicopter from your And then it just kind of somehow someone said, oh, Angelica does the helicopter. And she, and then someone just, say chopper, Angelicopter. So it kind of grew from there. So
And then it stuck.
it stuck. Yes. So my family's kind of worried. Like, why are people calling you Angelicopter? They said, like, Mom, it's not that deep. Don't worry.
Funny.
Just don't ask.
Don't ask. Like, I was trying to be funny, and then it backfired. So.
Yeah.
But then your name was born out of that. So
Yes.
that's a cool story.
Yeah, I'm just kind of glad that my kids don't ask about it.
They
Why
don't.
Are you called
That's good.
Angelicopter or Chopper. They just know.
They
It's just my Instagram handle.
You're like, we like to travel a lot, so I'm sure it has to do with something like that.
Yeah,
Just because.
Or sometimes I just go, I did the traffic report on the radio or something like that.
Good answer.
comeback.
Good answer.
Yeah,
Well, you've met many celebrities,
quite a few. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Having done that. So who would you say was your favorite to interview?
There were a few, but not a favorite. But I just thought locally when I was covering a fight here in Las Vegas, because eventually the radio kind of sprung up into you can do TV, like sports or whatever, back in the Philippines.
Right.
Because I could speak Tagalog and English and go back.
Well, I'm sure also because you're pretty easy on the eyes.
So it was funny because when there was a big Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fight, my former TV producers back home asked me to cover it here for the Floyd side. I was like, that's fine, that's cool. But not a favorite in terms of like, he's my favorite, but more he would catch you off guard. Like you're asking a question and, he was quick on his toes. And it's like, the press and the media is very strict, right? So it was my turn to ask my question, and I go, I have 2 questions for you, Floyd. And then I asked my first one, and then I asked my second one, but then there was a follow-up for the third, and he goes like, oh, you said you only had 2 questions. Oh. Wow. And I was like, no, I'm just kidding, of course. Like, oh my God, like he did it twice, because I remember he did it twice when I was like, I was caught off guard, so I could never ever forget that. I thought that was funny.
Oh my God,
awesome.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah,
not real favorite, but it's when it comes to those things, I think they have all their answers already like set.
Prepped and kind of
practice.
Yeah.
So
well, I watched you on YouTube. I did saw the Manny Pacquiao where you were sparring. Like, how did it go? It was awesome. I think that was years ago.
So that's when I was working apart from radio. So eventually they asked me to stay on, and I was like, ooh, 12 hours a week. This sounds fun. 4 days a week, right, on the radio, because it was just a morning show. And I didn't realize that it would really open a lot of doors, hosting gigs, TV, commercials, and all that. So, and I like talking to people, and I like asking them a lot of questions, and, whether it made sense or not is a different thing. But that was, I was trying to just be proactive about covering stories. So it started with Sports 5 TV, which is, I don't know what the station is down in the Philippines, but I covered the PBA, the Philippine Basketball Association, as a courtside reporter. Then they eventually gave me my own like little segment or show where, hey, whatever you want, whatever you do, kind of let's get creative.
Yeah.
So we called it Sports Juicy with Angelicopter. So it was more like, not chismes, but more like the human side of things, like outside of sports, right? So that one, he was, I think, training at my former boss's boxing gym. Like they own that building.
Cool.
Yes.
So they were like, oh, he's here. I was like, can I bring my cameraman and producer? It's like, I don't know. I was like, yes, like, can you just ask? So they ask, and I mean, if you watch the video again, obviously I wasn't really sparring, but
you
I
were
mean,
good.
You had a good time.
but it was like, let's make it different.
punches.
Let's see if he'll put his mitts up and do that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Right now, I still do co-host the podcast of my husband. He still does the radio back home in the Philippines from home. Here, we have a little studio at home.
nice.
I mean, not quite like this, but
What's it called?
it's still Good Times with Mo. So that has always been the name of the show, Good Times with Mo, and then whoever like his co-hosts are, those are always like changing.
Right.
And he also has a podcast, which is Good Times with Mo, the podcast. So that's love, sex, life, career
Everything
advice show, right? So it's a 12-year running podcast now, and people call in and just ask advice about different things. And not that we are professionals in those fields. The format of the show is really, if I were in your situation, what would I do?
Exactly.
Right? So, and it's always good to have, a different set of co-hosts so that there's different opinions or views. And
Keeps it interesting. Huh?
Yes. So every now and then I do that. I haven't in a few weeks because,
How's that working though with your husband?
Well, it's good and it's not. So
I think we want to hear about that.
having a DJ for us. But my DJ husband is, different. Is a talk. I don't even know why we're called DJs in the Philippines. We never really played music or mixed music.
DJs.
Radio personality, I think,
Yeah. So it's hard sometimes when the topic gets very close to home. Mm-hmm. Yes. But you have to detach yourself and just look at what, just give an advice from like a, not personal kind of view.
Objective point of view.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing is, like, you're trying to draw from experience and what you would do to, or like if it happens to you, it's hard, right? So we'll clash. The only good thing about that is that we've worked together on the radio, and that's kind of before it was just a more censored topics, I guess, right? Because it is radio. And there's kids, school, we would clash. We would either really be in sync or not. Like we have super opposite views. We were never on the gray area. The two of us.
So you knew him because you called in.
Yes.
So how did the relationship start, if you don't mind me asking?
So eventually, both of us found ourselves single after, maybe a year or 2 years of doing radio together. Mm-hmm. But at that point, when I was single, well, technically, there's no divorce in the Philippines, so I was going through an annulment from my previous marriage. Yeah, so I didn't want to tell anyone and whatnot. And our other co-host would always say, he's always had a crush on you. So I was like, I didn't want to let anyone know that I was single. But, we'd get calls on the show, and it just happened to be like, okay, I think I got to start saying that I'm no longer with my husband because I was the only married person in the 4 co-hosts of the morning show. So we had our different personalities or identity. Like I'm the married one.
Your status wasn't you were the married one,
He was a single bachelor. Mm-hmm. We had a gay co-host, and we had like the Korean immigrant who speaks Tagalog. It's that. So it was like different views and blended and diverse and inclusive. All the letters that you can think of, the E&I is there. So he started bringing coffee in the morning. Our show is like 6 a.m. He's never done that.
That was his flirty, right?
Yes. Yeah. But so that he wouldn't be obvious, he'll bring coffee for the everybody co-hosts. Which then, our Mojo Jojo, who was our co-host back then, you never bring us coffee. I was like, he's always like
I'm giving you a hint.
Well, I am now.
He started there. Yeah. And then he moved to New York. I was like, hey, check out New York. So I was like, oh, I like it here. Maybe I'll move to the US. With my son and whatnot. So that's kind of how it went. And then we both also decided to move to Las Vegas. So
Like you've been here for 10 years?
I think going on 12, 11 years going on 12. Wow. It was for family. Yeah, my husband's father wanted to move here instead of in California from the Philippines while he was getting treated for his cancer. So we bought a house. All his siblings already have their homes back in California, and he wanted here, so it's like, okay, we'll do that because I can do my show from anywhere anyway. That was him. So for me, it was like, well, I gotta find a job. What
do you like about Vegas?
That you can be very spontaneous and decide to go to the mall or do something and not have to really think or want it. Because I did live in California for 6 months because the job market here back then for me was rough. It's like I'm either going to work at the hotel industry, which I didn't have any background, or,
you would have a problem because you went on the radio live and you knocked it, really good. So
but it was
different, right?
It was different. Yeah. It was different. Like I had applied at, here in the studio where we're recording now, and I was an account executive for maybe 6 months, 7 months or so, but it wasn't working out because I was like, okay, I feel like I can do more.
Yes.
So maybe in California there's more opportunity. So we kept our house. My husband and my son, they stayed here. I lived in California with my daughter, like baby, newborn-ish, and found a job there. But I was like, this is a lot of work. Like, if we want to do something in the weekend, you really want to do it, just to see family. It's like, I don't know. It's just different.
Travel.
Yes. The traffic.
It's true.
Yeah. So what do you do now currently if you're not in radio per se, or, you join in your husband with the podcast, but what do you do that you've established for yourself?
Yeah. So I think maybe 8 years now I work in the tech industry.
Nice.
So I work for a global tech distributor, and I'm part of the cloud business, and I manage our Microsoft cloud business. So so that's kind of I found my way there, and I really like it. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is just seeing more women in tech. I just was recently sharing during our employee resource group at work, and I'm part of one of them as an executive sponsor, and I was saying like, hey, this is very, they kind of ask you like, why is this important to you, or why are you passionate about this? It's like, well, growing up, being Filipina, I always thought like nursing was the only way. Like if you're gonna make it in America,
As Joy Cook would say, if you didn't have no other job, you had to be a nurse.
And when I was first in tech, I never really saw someone like me, Filipino or Filipina, that's like making their way and making their mark in tech for me to go like, I want to be in tech.
No.
And also, I always thought you have to be an engineer to get in technology. No, so I kind of worked my way. So that's how I wanted to kind of help assist, and not just Filipinos or Filipinas, but also others. Women in technology is very big for
awesome.
me.
That's amazing.
Awesome. I've had mentors and coaches through, that I think where it comes from is that they've felt like, well, they also experienced being mentored and sponsored and coached by someone, so they're like just paying it forward.
Yeah,
and
nice.
so I try to do that. I have a few coworkers and people from outside of my work that, hey, if you just want to hop on a call, it could be as simple as like, hey, how do I ask for a raise?
Right.
Like that conversation can be tough if you're having it with your boss, but if you have someone like from outside your company to take that view and kind of walk you through it, well, this is what you're going to do, right?
That's good.
Or goal setting and planning. So
Wow, that's good. We probably need a training from him so we can all get.
Go and
They'll be fun.
get a race from our husbands. That's what I want.
So we know you love traveling. We know you love to add to your cart of awesome things that you come back home with. Most people come with a magnet, a keychain, but you come up with something even more like enjoyable. Tell us about your souvenirs.
Growing up, it's a culture thing, I think.
Yeah.
You'll probably see a lot of Filipinos that have migrated or immigrated and whatnot. Like, you like nice things eventually, right? So, mind you, when I started working here in the U.S., I was making $20,000 a year. And before taxes, I'm like, how do I survive? Make anything with that? It was here. I just have to say,
right?
But it was still more than what I would have as a 9-to-5 employee in the Philippines. So you just make your way. So now that things are getting better and whatnot, and we're really blessed, like travel is something important to us because we want our kids to see a different view. I remember traveling when I was young. The first time I traveled on my own, I was 14 or 15. My dad's German, so he's very big in that. In when it comes to like teenagers or traveling, starting them young. So he was like, "Who wants to go to Germany and like live at a foster family for all summer?" I'm like, all summer? 2 months? I'm like, it was like, it was supposed to be my brother and I, but then my brother had a girlfriend that summer, and then my brother was like, "Can you just go? Like, that is just gonna be you." I'm like, "Okay, fine, take one for the team." So I did, and then I think that empowered because I had to fly on my own and back, and there was no cell phones.
Flight, dude.
It literally was like, okay, your flight is this time, and then someone's gonna pick you up, and you be there, just stand there. I'm like, okay, and then after I can do this. Like, I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then eventually I traveled a lot for work too after college, so I wasn't that scared. But so I just want the same for my kids, and if they can take home something really nice.
Yes. What would you say is really nice? I love.
What did you take home?
Yes,
That was really nice, Angelica.
Mommy needs to take something home to remember that place, right?
So we've been to Paris before and a couple of cities in Europe. This was the first time that we were going to go with our kids. We planned our trip in 2020, but we all know what happened there. Right. So we were like, okay, we'll go. So this was last year during Thanksgiving break. Yes. And Thanksgiving is really cold and rainy, but it's cheap. Flights are cheaper.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah, so if you and the kids are in break. So we just kind of add a little bit more days there, and when we were off too for work, so that kind of works out. Just be ready for a little drizzle or whatnot. So we were there and we were enjoying it, and I hate talking about this because I can go on for days. I really when I was young in college, I said I really, really want to get Chanel bags.
Right.
Not one.
Not one. Bags, plural.
I'm being
We got it. Bags.
I like the goal.
Yeah.
I want a Chanel bag. That's the wrong goal, girl. No.
Because
You're shooting low.
Yeah, you don't go a Chanel bag. Right. You go bags.
As if,
So,
Big dreams.
so I liked it, and I read about Coco Chanel's story. You know, she was one of the first French female designers that even designed pantsuit and stuff. Like, oh, that's empowering. You know,
Yes.
so okay. And then the Chanel prices went ridiculously high, like the past pandemic years. I'm like, what? I remember buying my bag, and Beverly and I were having this discussion
Yeah.
at home. Like, I remember buying the bag for $2,000. That was the jumbo. Like,
Yes.
You know, and now you buy
Tiny. When a
Tiny,
wallet.
like
The wallets
how
are more
much?
expensive than the purses.
So that's
but-
when I kind of like, you know what? Let me look at how much Hermes bags cost. And that was wrong. Don't do that. Because it's a trap. It's a trap. Because now you see what Hermes bags, if
They're
you can
beautiful.
get one, cost a little bit less than Chanel bags now. Like I don't know if you know the terms, but there was this one bag that I was really eyeing. It's called the Kelly.
The Kelly.
Well, it's after Grace Kelly because it was they made
Nice.
this bag because she was covering her baby bump with it and something like that.
That's
right. So it's really nice. And when I looked at this blog, purseblog.com, sorry, it really
Don't be sorry. We actually get excited when you see like you really
blog, they'll really tell you.
But you know what? She looks up the history behind, and I appreciate the value of the purse.
This is
and
educational.
You validate your
Gucci
purchase.
and the Jackie.
She validates your purchase, so have at it.
Yeah,
Have at it.
So it was, if you buy it in Europe, it was X amount of dollars and a certain size, much bigger, or maybe the Chanel medium flap,
Yeah.
a little smaller, which was a little bit more expensive. I'm like, I'm not
make
buying Chanel anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna level up.
Yes.
I'm gonna level up in life. No, I'm kidding. I was like, but I think I
found
got
logic,
challenged.
yeah.
I think I got challenged. I'm up for challenges always. They're like, you can't buy that.
Yes.
You can't just walk in the store and buy it. I'm like,
Why?
because it's reserved for those that have already purchasing
wait list.
history.
Oh
Really?
my gosh.
They don't say that, but that's kind of how it is in the U.S. at least, right? You'll read about it, everything, like in Purse Blog. But so when we were going to Paris, it's different. You just need to get a bag appointment, and maybe they'll offer you one.
What?
They're wish list bags, or what they call the quota bags, which are your Kellys and your Birkins, right? The Birkins.
This is a game.
oh,
Yeah,
it's a game.
This needs its own little podcast. So we need to talk.
You're trapped once you're in. Like, now I get it. While a lot of people, like when they have an Hermes bag, you see Hermes everything in their house. Their blankets, their pillows, because they need to build their spend history.
Because
if
now
you
they
see,
can
like,
get it.
Yeah.
Oh
you go to
my
my house and have
goodness.
coffee and have an Hermes mug, don't judge me.
Yeah.
I'm building my purchase history.
I
Yes.
was like, I told my husband, what do you want for Father's Day from Hermes?
From where you're giving them from where?
That's the only place.
That's the only thing
what
on
do you
the
want
wish
for your
list.
birthday from Hermes? He's just shakes his head. So when we were there, this is really a funny story. I was trying to get an appointment, and you have to do it online. Imagine 3,000, I think, is what they said. People try to get an appointment online.
What?
So you have to do it today so that you can get an appointment for the next day.
Okay.
So you actually have to be in Paris to do it. Right? It's not like just doing it and then you
gosh.
fly. Some people have done that from New York. Like they fly and then they didn't get offered back. So I was like, so every day that we were there, I didn't get an appointment. I literally didn't get an appointment. I went in. My friend wanted me to get a belt for her, so I did. Another friend of mine wanted to get me. So all
Yeah.
this stuff that I'm actually buying for my friends because it's cheaper, there's tax refund, whatever. And then on the last day, we didn't have anything planned. We were just going to take it slow. And the Hermes store was just a mile from our hotel. So less than. I could
that
walk
on
it.
purpose?
That's what I was gonna say.
No, my husband booked the hotel. But I think he knew. So,
Yeah.
so I was like, husband and kids are still sleeping. Tap my husband. You know what? I'm just going to buy some souvenirs. I'm just going to buy some bracelets. I really like bracelets. I didn't-
Bracelets,
Yeah, I
right?
did.
Yeah, souvenirs, right?
Souvenirs.
We know Angelica souvenirs.
And then I bought some. I found two. And then the sales associate, she was really nice. Like, hey, we're having a little event here. And they were wondering if you have time, like the artist will paint something for you. I'm like, sure. I'm like, yeah. So they did. And then I was really nice and patient. And then my sales associate told me, this never happens, especially on a Sunday morning, but an appointment opened up. And I'm like, oh
my God, you're meant to be there.
It's like all the sweats in all the places. And I'm like, but keeping my cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can do that. And then she was like, do you have anything that you're going to, no, I have time. Do you have to be somewhere? In my head, like,
not.
This is it. Like,
Yeah, it would.
so long story short, she said, okay, I'll take
Yes.
you, and they have this whole script, which is exactly how I read it, like online. Like they'll ask you, so how can I help? Like, I don't remember the lines because everything happened so fast.
Yes.
But it's exactly the way it is. And they go like, so how can I help you today? How can I help you find your dream bag? It was something like that.
Wow.
Maybe that's how it sounded to me.
Yes,
Maybe that's how it said.
You're just like,
I don't think that's what she said. But that's how it sounded to me, so I'll take it. And in my head, so you have to be specific. Don't give them too much choices. Like all these things. Like,
so strategic about like.
I made my research. So you give them I gave her 2 options.
Wow.
And then you're sitting there, I'm like, fuck. If they don't offer you the Coda bag and they offer you somewhere else, in my head, I have to take it.
Yeah, you can't say no. Yeah.
Because it's like, you'll be
You're
blind.
giving it that.
Appointment opened up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I was so scared the second time around. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, dear God, please let it be the one. Let them take my money.
That was a great experience.
There
I'm
was
like,
no Wi-Fi. I'm like texting my husband. I'm buying a bag.
He's like, this long for bracelets?
yeah, souvenirs
But
must
I
be
think
really.
eventually some of the message came
When he
through.
saw the transaction, probably he knew exactly where you were at.
Do you approve this transaction?
Yeah. Apparently, and I didn't know this because it was my first time. So
Yeah.
I was in the bag area and there were people, opening bags, the other bag designs, the styles and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, I don't want that. Oh my gosh, I don't want that. Like every time I'm like, that's not what I want.
like please stay
I'm
focused.
so nervous. Like I don't see anyone getting offered what I want. So I'm doomed. Like this lady's gonna come out and she's gonna get me that in fuchsia or something color. I'm like,
I'm gonna have to rock it,
And then some lady went up to me, some other sales associates, like, hey, my colleague said, can you come follow me?
Yeah.
She wants you to come follow me.
Right.
And I'm like, where are they taking me?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Damn.
Suckered you in some more, huh?
Wine?
No.
With wine?
They don't show these bags in public. So the moment they tell you, come with me,
You got
That's
the
like
bag.
they're going to offer you something good.
Oh, nice.
And it was exactly what I wanted. I'm getting goosebumps again.
Oh my God! You should have brought it.
Like the whole do you want champagne? Do you want some Wagyu steak or whatever? They didn't offer Wagyu steak.
No, but that's how it felt like, when you're VIP and you're like, yeah.
So she unboxed it.
Those
I
bags.
stood up and then I hugged her.
And the angels sang.
Yeah.
And whatever else happened.
Hugged her.
I hugged her because it was like this. The way they opened the box, she was like, "Okay, hold." My heart's pounding, and there was a part where the box was just sitting there, and she was getting me drinks, and I'm like, "What the hell is in that box?"
Oh my
The
God.
right one.
That is
And then they slowly open it.
crazy.
It really is. Best in class experience. Like, if you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
buy
like having your newborn child, without the horrible mess and the girl, but it's like a life.
and everything.
For those
Like it went,
prices, then yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is the most expensive water and champagne I've ever had.
Wow,
But yeah, it was really nice.
What a cool experience.
that is great. That's
Yeah.
stressful, but
But everyone told me you're lucky because
Yeah.
no one gets that in their first time, and I've never bought an Hermes bag.
Yeah.
And it was that, so they were like, "What the hell? Like, did you connect
Only
with
for
your
Angelica.
ex?" So
that's great. Well, I know you traveled many other places aside of Paris for your souvenirs, but we also want to talk about I know I've seen your renewal of your vows in Iceland.
oh yes, yeah.
You guys had a beautiful, it wasn't even, it was in the rocks, it was ice, it was cold, but you guys made that moment so precious. I mean, is that one of your places that has so much significance when you travel? Because I know everywhere you go, you like to have some meaning towards where you
Yeah.
visit. Is this one of the places or another destination that you would say that brings a lot of like joy or just like sentiment or like, you know, you're laughing. You're
yes,
you're laughing. I know. I don't know.
I want to hear. I want to hear
It's
this.
yes and no. So we've been there before. My husband has been there a few times more than me, and it's beautiful. So, and I've been there. I don't like camping. I've tried it,
Yes.
and I'm like, babe, I've tried it. Just do that thing with our son, and I'll
That's
be
it.
fine. You know, it's just really not my thing. Not
Right.
that I don't get down and dirty. It's just like, yeah, but you're sweaty and stinking like the
I
whole
get
day.
it.
You know, it's like.
We like gland camping.
I'm not.
So
Yeah. I'd rather stay in a
Same here.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yes.
I have a camera right here.
So when my husband was like, let's go to Iceland. I'm like, So what he did was like, let's go to Iceland for my birthday. I'm like, damn it, I can't
Say no.
Say no to
Yeah.
that. So we did, just us. And my jaw dropped. I've never seen like if God created something beautiful and
This
whatnot,
is
like
it.
that was it. Like, and there was no shopping like for two
Yeah.
enticing.
And you were okay with
and
that.
I was happy.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful.
That is-
the waterfall. So I said fair to every waterfall that I see now today. I'm like, oh, there's waterfalls. Like
Like, that's nothing.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. You
that's
haven't
not
seen a waterfall. Yeah.
So and then you know the glaciers and all this, but you have to know that Iceland's weather is rough. It can change day by
Yes.
day. So if you have anything planned, just be ready for that to change. Like we've been there a couple of times already, and a lot of people go there to see the Northern Lights. And,
Yes.
and you might not we needed it when we were there, but everyone else in the hotel that we stayed at saw. So I'm like, what the hell is wrong?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've been there, and then so that's a significant part. We both really love it.
Right.
It was both our first time, or like it's something that we've been together that we both never been before. So, but also when we exchanged vows, it was during the pandemic. So we were looking for a place to do it where, you know, COVID was less and there were more people vaccinated, and you wouldn't have to
Right.
see a lot of people. Iceland, with their little population, they handled it very well. At the same time, they had really good kind of rules around accepting tourists during
Nice.
that season. So it was pretty good.
That's
So you renewed your vows there. Can you just tell us about your proposal first, if we're going back a little bit?
Oh, okay. So actually, we were never married before. So that was where we actually exchanged vows. Yeah.
So that wasn't a renewal. That's where you actually got
Yes,
married.
yes.
Okay.
So I think maybe the year prior, during the pandemic time, Mo actually proposed to me through his podcast.
crazy.
Yeah, so it caught me off guard. And during this time, I was still grieving. Like I lost my brother during the pandemic, and I think it was Feb, and I think he proposed around May. And I really didn't want to be in the podcast. And he was like, yeah, but this caller's asking. And like, I literally haven't showered. I was in my pajamas, and it's like, yeah, but I don't want it to be like a sad call or something that's going to
Yes.
trigger me and whatnot. No, it's not. But they really wanted your advice and whatnot. And he was like pulling, like, just do it, just do it. So in my head, he's just probably trying to help get me out of this rut.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it, because you know you'll get funny calls anyway. Because I felt like, if it's too funny, I'm still grieving. You know, it was
Right.
sad.
Right.
But then the caller had a similar situation, kind of like how Mo and I had, and whatnot. And then eventually, I almost caught on to it. It's like, are you calling about me?
Is it? Yes.
And I'm like, no. And then it continued, and then in the end, it was like, well, you know, the format of the show is, in the end of your story,
Yes.
you have to ask a question so that we'll know how to answer what
Got
you're,
it.
you know, what you're looking for, like, for the show. But it was this long story, so I'm like, in the end, like, okay, wait, like,
Get to the question.
what's your question? Yeah, and then that's when the caller popped and go like, okay, I just really have one question. Angelica, would you accept this ring and marry Mo? Something like that. I'm like, what? And then I looked to my left, where Mo was inside the studio. He was handing me a ring.
That is very cool.
Yeah,
Very unique, but very resonating, because both of you guys in radio.
Yeah.
Like, it's
How you
just-
met.
And
Yes,
you told
exactly.
the whole world, listeners. Yeah.
He
That's awesome.
said he was thinking of that or the Instagram route, but he thought this was going to be better and that people might tell on Instagram.
Yes. And you couldn't say no.
Huh. Yeah, I could.
Say no.
I was like, yeah. I was like, cut it. There's no cutting in
Really?
Yeah, no, but yes, I said yes.
That's
I said, of course, 'cause
awesome.
we've been together for so long. At that point,
Right.
it was just, and we have a family, so it's more
Yes.
like, It's paperwork.
Yeah.
Is he the romantic one?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
He's the romantic one. I'm more a service person, but yeah. Yeah, but when they ask what's your language of love, I'm like, oh, I want them all.
That's great.
don't we all?
Yeah.
It's not one. I want all. Yeah, shoot for the stars always.
That's good. I mean, we appreciate you coming in and giving us just a little series of like your life and your career, early career, your current lifestyle with just having fun and having the podcast with your husband and, you know, having all the good stuff. I think it's very relatable to us too. And, but you have so much growth for you too. And I think you're just a fun person.
We could talk to you forever.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We need part. We need part 2 with Angelica because we
I
have.
have one though.
Yeah.
I want you, Angelica, to describe you in 3 words.
Oh my goodness, that's so hard.
Right? Dave couldn't even do it, right?
I'm sure you have a lot.
And sometimes I try to play this in my head, how I would describe me. But what if I ask my kids to describe me? Like if someone else asked me, like how would you describe your mom would be different, right? Because we almost view ourselves like we have insecurities and whatnot.
Right.
So
Feels like those 3 would
I'm
come
like
out.
a hard worker, you know. I'm resilient, and I'd like to think that I'm kind.
Yes, that's
I
great.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, your neighbor would agree. Believe me, she's your neighbor.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
well, thanks for having me. This was really fun, and you know, I mean, I was listening or watching your podcast on Instagram, and there were like some pretty you know, good conversations there. I'm like, ooh, I like this. So, like,
We always have fun with our guests.
Yeah,
and you were a very fun guest.
Yes.
My favorite's the purse stories.
but can I just say, because you guys are DJ's wives, right? What are your husband's take on like women requesting songs during like? Because I'm like, I was that person. I'm like, hey, like I know you are playing all this like playlist, but can you just play one hip hop song? Yeah, because I just can't dance to this, you know. Like,
You might be in the wrong club.
it's like my friends brought me here. I really didn't want to go here, but since I'm here, just one. I've seen this way back in the Philippines, though. Probably clubs or whatnot are not as elaborate as here, but some, you know, in the more local, not big clubs, but they would actually leave money for their songs. to get
That's always good.
They still do that.
Yeah,
They'll
that's
tip.
good.
Well, there you go, ladies.
Yeah.
$500 for a song. Right.
Well, I don't know about 500. Maybe we haven't heard of that tip.
They still
Maybe.
kidding.
I'm just like, shoot for the start.
But it's good for. There was a couple too that had tipped my husband because he had a song and they were just like an awesome couple. They were dancing to everything, and I was like, I appreciate it. And then he
does it in a
actually
nice
wanted.
way.
Yes, they did in a nice way. He's on. My wife wanted to hear the song, and you know they tip him. You know it comes and goes, but it's good when they see their one song and they want to just hear it, and they're in a place where it just brings probably memories to them, and it's good to have the music just bring that to those moments. And I'm like, they were a fun couple. We were seeing them dancing all through everything, and I'm like, Hector, play whatever they want.
Raquel, Brian's a nice guy. Does
Oh
he?
my gosh.
What does he do? How does he handle it?
He'll take the requests.
He does?
Yeah.
He
does.
Does it make sense, like, in the whole way?
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends.
He'll try to put it in if they tip him for sure.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He'll put it in if they tip him.
Yeah.
But there was a point where I'm like, dude, you could say no.
Yeah.
You know, but he doesn't want to do that because he's like, you know, they're here to have fun. I don't want to ruin their night. I want everyone to have fun. So let them request it. There was one time, like in LA, I would go with him and I had a list like on my phone of what song they requested. And they would come back. Is he going to play it? Is he going to play it?
That's the
I'm like, he knows. I have it right here.
Damn, I feel like I've done that before.
Wow.
Yeah. Way to go, Angelica.
feel
Look
so
where you
bad.
started.
It was in the Philippines, so it was never your husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to be like, you know,
Yeah,
shots.
they're used to it. They're used to it. They just don't like it when they're rude and
That's the thing.
And like the requester is like forcibly
Forcing.
like, you better play it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or when they write it on their phone and then shove it in their face.
Yeah, while they're
that.
DJing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do the hold the
That's
phone
just rude.
and hold the song. I see that. I was like, is this like?
What is that
you know-
supposed to be? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they're drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you kind of give them that pass once.
Yes.
But if they keep coming back and they're rude, then the security
Yeah.
comes and just handles it.
That's true.
You know, but we'll take the request.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
They usually will. Well, it's been so much fun.
Yes,
I think we can go on and on,
Yes.
but we will respect your time and we appreciate you joining in with us. Hopefully it won't be the last, but you're a local, so we definitely will have the opportunity to chat with you at later times. If you ever want us to come to your podcast, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's not my podcast, but yeah, absolutely.
Your husband will know when. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, if you ever want to have him also on your show,
Absolutely.
I'll probably have
Absolutely.
different opinions.
That's
and
the
then
thing.
Throw me
That's-
under the bus a little bit.
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun. Yeah. You got to do that now.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Angelica,
thank you.
so
Thank
much.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Check us out on the next episode, DJ's Wives LV podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.